and then after algorithm, we figure out what is known as the time complexity. So it's the same old way. It's the same thing of what we do for all the other aspects of it. But here, most importance is given for the tracing part, because that's very important, right? When it comes to tracing, how do you do it? That becomes very important here. Okay, so this is the last one with regard to divide and conquer technique. After this, there is a decrease and conquer technique. In that, there is only one called topological sorting. Okay, like that. If you are able to do that, then the entire two modules are two modules are fully done and dusted. Okay, but before that, we need to figure out what is this. In very simple words, we are going to do this. First and foremost, we are going to do the tracing part of it. Then probably once you see the algorithm, you'll get to know how it is all done. Okay, so I'm for the tracing part of it, I need to have elements. Okay, I need to have an elements for it. So I'm going to take an example of elements that you see here. See in exam, what is going to happen? They themselves will be going to give this. So what you are going to do? You are going to do the tracing part. Okay, so you don't have to worry of remembering all these things. If they ask with explain with an example, then you can take any example to explain this. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, you got your 65, then obviously the next one, right? 25 and 75. So this is the number of elements that I've given when it comes to the array. Here we are going to figure out what is known as the minimum and maximum element. For this, what are the things that are needed? The things that are needed becomes very clear here. First thing is you need to figure out the index values of each and every elements in this. Okay, what do you mean by index values? When you go for an array, you know very clearly that you know what is known as index values for it. Okay, then you must know what is the low value of it. You must know what is the high value of it. Then obviously when you when you have low and high, anytime when it comes to divide and conquer, what is the thing that you always figure out? You figure out this. Mid is equal to low plus high divided by 2. Everyone will know that this is the way we need to figure out the midpoint. Okay, then of course when you have these things there are other things also is needed. What is the other ones? We need to know what is the minimum element, and of course we need to know what is the maximum element. So these two things, okay, the index value and of course low value and mid, three things, okay, plus those two things, all these things are needed to figure out this entire tracing part of it. Okay, so let's figure out, okay, how it is all done. To know, to sort of move into this, the first thing I told you very clearly to be kept in mind or to be known is to know the index values of it. Okay, so shall I write the index values of it? Now you must be knowing by now what is the index values for it. But again, I'm going to write it in a way that you people will sort of easily understand. Okay, so what is the index values? You basically start from where? You start from 0, right? The index values of it will become like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and of course 8, right? This is the index values. How many elements do you have? I've made it a very clear point to have take, not just even number of elements where it become very easy to divide. I've taken odd number of elements. So obviously you will be having one side more elements compared to the other side. Okay, so what is the thing I have written? I have written what is known as the elements. I have written what is known as the index part. Now the most important part. The most important part is to make sure that now we need to figure out what is the way of writing this. So the first thing that you need to know here is in a way that I'm supposed to write here. Okay, so that I'll probably write it towards this side. So when I write this, the box or what you call it, a way of writing this, what are the things that I look for here? Okay, this is my box. Okay, this is my tracing thing. So what are the first thing and second thing and third thing and fourth thing, like that what I write? Okay, the first one, be careful here. I'm going to write the same thing again also. So first thing I'm going to write is the value with regard to low. What is the value with regard to low? What is the value regard to high? Okay, then next one, the what is the value with regard to minimum? What is the value with regard to maximum? These are the four things I basically write: low, high, minimum, and maximum. So this you got to keep in mind. Okay, this you should keep in mind without any doubts. That's the first important thing to be kept in mind here. Okay, so based on this, okay, based on this, can I write the next part? Okay, can I write the next part? So what I'm trying to do here is these two things, minimum and maximum, I'm not going to find out directly. That is, there is a step, right? First we figure out what is low and high. Then on top of it, when we figure out, we'll get to know what is minimum and maximum. Okay. But before that, probably you will get to know what is the things I'm trying to do here. Okay. So I'm going to write my first box. Okay. I'm going to write my first box and I'm going to write what are the values to be filled up in that box. First thing I told you very clearly, what is the low value? Initially, what will be the low value? Low value will be pointing to the first element, right? It will all be pointing to the first element. And what is that first thing? The value of that is nothing but 0. So the first initial low value is nothing but equal to 0. The next one, the next one is high value. Where do you think the high value would be? The high value will be basically here. So I value is nothing but equal to 8. These are index values. Please keep that in mind. Okay, these are index values. So I got my 0 and 8. No doubt in that. Okay, no doubt in that. So obviously the next thing min and max, we'll write that later. Okay, we'll write that later. So please keep this in mind with these two things. I'll write it in a different color probably. So you can see this minimum and maximum. We are going to write it at a later part once you stop at the place where all of these are sort of ended. Okay, so let's go for the next one. Okay, this obviously need to be split into two parts. Okay, this entire box will again be split into two parts. Now be careful with the value I'm supposed to get. Okay, now this, what is the way you have this low and high. Now these are your low, this is your high. Next thing is I need to put this into two parts like this. What are the two parts I will be able to find out, put these values here? Okay, what are the two ways of put these values here? Oh, I need to figure out the low, the midpoint, right? So how do you figure out the midpoint? Midpoint is equal to low, right, plus high divided by 2 is how you figure out the values of it. What is the low value is nothing but 0. What is high value is nothing but 8. 0 by 2. Okay, what is the value that you get is up to 4. Okay, you get up to what is known as 4. So in this place, okay, in this place again I need to write from low to high, right? So towards the left side, when you sort of split this, what is going to happen? I will be getting the low value as nothing but 0. The high value will be up to the midpoint, so which is nothing but 4. Okay, which is up to the midpoint, which is nothing but 4. So this side, what needs to be done? This side needs to be done, after mid. After mid, what is the thing that is there, which is nothing but mid plus 1. Okay, up to the last point, which is nothing but the high point. Okay, so what is there here? It is nothing but 5 to 8. Okay, now you can clearly understand right from the way I have written this. I have 0 to 8 and split it into two parts, two things are split. I split it as 0 to 4, 1 and 5 to 8, 1. When you combine those, you get 0 to 8. No doubt in that. Okay, no doubt in that. So this is the first two things I've got. What's the next thing? Again, this needs to be split. Till where you need to split? Till you have only two elements. Okay, till there you have to keep on splitting. Now, how many elements are there? From 0 to 1 means how many elements are there? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many elements are there? There are 5. Towards this side, how many elements? 5, 6, 7, 8. How many elements are there? 4. 5 plus 4, 9. Total 9 elements only we took. Yes. Okay. This is what we are going to supposed to do now. Okay. We are going to work through with regard to this. Okay. What is the disturbance? Mute yourself. Is that mute yourself? Okay. So make sure that so let's be back. Okay. Now let's go back and check the values what you have done. Now again we need to split this into two parts. Okay. We always want to split this into two parts. This again we are going to split it into two parts. Okay. So what are the two parts that we are going to split? Again we are going to take low plus high divided by 2. What is low here? 0 plus high is 4. Okay, divided by 2. So what is the value you get? Up to midpoint is nothing but equal to 2. Okay, so my elements here from will be starting from 0 up to 2. Okay, this side towards the right side, what it will be? It will be two elements only. Okay, which is nothing but 3 and 4. Okay, 3 elements. I clearly got it. Okay, but this towards this side also we need to split. Okay, both the things we need to split. This is again divide and conquer technique only. So obviously both the sides you need to split. So what is the value that you have here? Low is nothing but 5. Okay, or else I'll take this. I'll write here Yeah, now I can write. Okay, this is nothing but 5 and this is nothing but 8. 5 plus 8. Okay, you got your 13. 13 divided by 2. Okay, 13 divided by 2 is 6. Okay, 6.5. So where do you can you take it for 6.5 and all? No. Okay, we basically take the values that is, you need to write in such a way that it is between 6 and 7. Okay, so towards this side, if I split, what is going to happen? This entire thing. Okay, see, I'm just going to write this. This entire thing will be split into two parts, right? How do you think the two parts would be? The low will be with regard to the first 2 points. Okay, so 6 and 7. Okay, then what is the next thing I have? The next thing is with regard to the next point. Sorry, not 6, 5 and see, this is a problem. Okay, yeah, sorry. So what is the next thing that we have? Okay, the next thing we need to split this into 2 points. So what is it? 5 and 6. See, next thing is here towards this set 7 and 8. What is the average we got? The average we got is 6.5. Okay, so only I've taken 5 and 6 here, 7 and 8 right here. Okay, so this is all done. The low and mid value of low and high values of these, up to here, it's all done. Now you can clearly see, okay, be careful here. You can clearly see there are only two values right here, 3 and 4. Can you figure out, midpoint for it? No, 3 and 4, 3.5 it will come. Only two values are there. 5 and 6, only two values. 7 and 8, only two values. But what about here? Here there are more than two values, right? Okay, you figure out 0, 1, 2. See, there are not two values. There are three values. Okay, there are three values here. So what do we need to do? We need to again split this. Okay, we need to again split this. So if you split this, what is going to happen? Okay, so I'm going to do that. 1 second. Yeah. So I'm going to again do that. So if I split this, again, what is the two values that I'm supposed to get? The two values I'm going to get is 0 and 2, right? So if I do this, low is nothing but 0 plus high is nothing but 2, okay, divided by 2. 0 plus 2 is nothing but you get 1, okay? So towards this side you get 0, okay, and you get 1. Low and high, both, low, this is 1, high is 1. Towards this side you get only one value, okay? Low is nothing but 2. High is also 2. Be careful. Low, high is also 2. Okay. Now you check. Now you check with regard to this thing. This is very important. The last place where you are going to sort of end this entire thing. Okay. Check. How do you check? Everything is done out there. Okay. You can check 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the 9 attributes or the 9 values of it is clearly written here. Okay, is all clearly written here. So what I'm going to do now my job is to make sure that I write what is my minimum value and maximum value of each and everything. Okay, minimum and maximum of each and everything. Then I will be easily able to find out the minimum and maximum value of entire this. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do now. Let's please look into this very important thing. Okay, so I'm going to write the minimum and maximum value. I need to start from here, right? I need to start and I need to go from this side. So what I'm doing is I need to start from the bottom of it. So 0 and 1. What is the values with regard to 0 and 1? Look into the on top of it now. Okay, please look into here. 0 and 1. 1 second. So you got my 50, 40 and all, right? So let's write this. Between 0 and 1. Okay. Between, see, I'm writing only for this. So only I'm taking 0 and 1. Please keep that in mind. Okay. Only I'm writing for 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 between 40 and 50, which is the minimum element. The minimum element is 40. So I'll write that the first thing is minimum element. I'll write 40. What is the next thing? Maximum element 0 and 1. What is maximum? 50. So I'll write that. So next one is 50. Okay. The next one element is with regard to 50. Okay. If you can't see, please zoom in because I need to have an entire screen so that I need to show the entire values also. Right. Now again, go for 2. What is the value that is pointed by 2? -5. What is the minimum element here? -5 only. What's the maximum element? Again, -5 only. Okay. Now you see this, these two are thing not done. Now you go for 0 to 2. Up to from 0 to 2 you need to figure out. Okay, that's one way. You could always look here and figure out, or you can write from here itself. Between here, which is the minimum, between these two, which is the minimum element? Minimum element obviously is -5, correct? What is the maximum element? 40, 50, -5. Maximum element is 50. See, done. Okay, it is clearly done. Next, go for 3 and 4. Where is 3 and 4? These two. Okay, what is the minimum element? Minus 9. What's the maximum element? Of course, 45. Okay, it is nothing but 45. Then go to here. Okay, now you check. Now you check this entire value, or else we will complete this, then we'll come here. Okay, now between 5 and 6. Where is 5 and 6? Right here, 5 and 6. Which is the minimum element? Minimum element is nothing but 65. So I'll write that 65 here. Maximum element is 90. I'll write the 90 here. Between 7 and 8. Here is 7 and 8. Here and here. Okay. What is the minimum element? 25. First you need to write minimum, then the maximum element. So 75. See, everything should be in one block. I'm writing outside because there's no space. Okay. Now you check. Minus 5, 50, minus 9, 45. Which is the minimum element that you get here? Among all minus 5, 50, minus 9, 45. The minimum element is nothing but minus 9. Okay. Is the minimum element. What's the maximum element? Minus 5, 50, minus 9, 45. Maximum element is 50. Okay. Now come here. Now come between these two. You got your 65, 90. Okay. 25, 75. Okay. Minimum element among all these things, 25. Okay. Is nothing but 25. Maximum among all these things, 65, 90, 25, 65. Okay. Is nothing but your 90. Okay. Now on go on top. Minus 9, 50, 25, 90. Minimum element, minus 9. Maximum element, of course, 90. See, it's all done. Okay, it's all done. This is a tracing. This is what I was talking about as what? A tree of recursive calls. This is yeah, we are back, right? We are back. So where do you basically end it? You end it in a place where it becomes only one element. Okay. See 0 and 1. You can't split it further. Right? You can't split it further. So you stop there. Okay. And you can see here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everything is done. So based on this. Okay, based on this, what is the maximum element you got? You got the maximum element as 90 and you got the minimum element as with regard to minus 9. Okay, so these things you easily figure out using a divide and conquer technique. This tracing part becomes very important. Okay, it becomes very important because again I'm telling you combinations of things. First one is with regard to algorithm. The second one is with regard to tracing. Okay, I went with tracing because once you understand tracing, the algorithm writing is becomes very easy. Okay, algorithm is all done, tracing. Okay, then of course the time complexity. Three things that becomes very, very important for any problem you take on the divide and conquer. Okay, not just here, everywhere. Okay, so these things, okay, need to be sort of kept in mind. Okay, so before we move to the next part, which is to write about an algorithm, all those things and all, for based on all these things, okay, for based on all these things, can we write a time complexity of it? Okay, can you write a time complexity? If I write a time complexity also, how do you think the time complexity will look through? The time complexity can easily be written like this. Okay, what is the way? First and foremost, where do you think you are going to write an algorithm? First thing is you have an array of elements. Okay, what is the most important part you do? You basically divide things. Okay, and basically you do the next thing, which is nothing but comparing. Okay, which is nothing but number of comparisons. There is an array of elements, you divide that, and of course you keep on comparing things. Okay, and where do you end it? You end in a place where there is only one element. Okay, or when the mid element cannot be further found out. Okay, so this is where you basically end on. Okay, this is something that you got to keep in mind here. Okay, now based on these things, okay, based on these things, if I am able to figure out what is known as the time complexity of it, the time complexity recurrence relation, I can easily write. See, the starting writing this equation is very, very important. Okay, you need to sort of either buy at it or remember, you do something. But starting equation needs to be sort of remembered. Based on that only you deduce the equation. Okay, so starting equation needs to be kept in mind without any problem. What is the starting equation? The starting equation is T n by 2, okay, plus T of n by 2, okay, plus 2. This is if the number of elements is greater than 2. What do you call this? You are dividing the left part. What do you call this? You are dividing the right part. What do you call this 2? This 2 is becoming very important now. Okay, what do you call this 2 as? This is the number of comparisons. Okay, number of comparisons of doing what? Merging both the sides. Merging both the sides. What you get? This is only I've written. So only I've written that 2. If the number of elements is only 2. Only 2 elements are there. Then what is the number of comparisons you have? It's having only 1. Okay, there are only 2 elements. You figure out only one comparison. What is that? What is the maximum? What is the minimum? Okay, everyone can do, everyone can do. Then what's the next thing? The next thing, if the number of elements is only 1, if only 1, then there is no comparisons. Okay, that itself will be the maximum element, that itself will be the minimum element. Okay, so these things need to be kept in mind. What are these things? Where you have n, how do you write n? Okay, based on what you're writing. N greater than 2, okay, n equal to 2 and n equal to 1. This is called as a recurrence relation. Okay, the recurrence relation for what you call with regard to the finding out a maximum and minimum element. Okay, based on this we are going to deduce the the time complexity of it, and of course later part of it, and before that only you will be able to see the algorithm. You will be seeing the algorithm is very simple. Okay, you compare ai with aj, whichever is smaller you put it as smaller, whichever is greater you put it as greater. That is the algorithm for maximum and minimum, and then the time complexity where you keep on writing each and of all these things using back again substitution method, and you get one time complexity equation. Okay, is that the end of it? Yes, very much. That is the end of it. Okay, you can always do. I'll give one more problem to it. Anyway, tomorrow we are going to see about that. You can take one more problem. The problem which generally comes in the textbook is with regard to like this. Okay, 22, 13 minus 5. Okay, minus 8. I have not taken this because again this is something which you will be finding it everything in the textbook itself. So I've taken a different example for you to solve. You can always take this also. Okay, generally comes in exam also, the same old example. Okay, and figure out the entire thing. Here also I can easily say, right, my maximum element will obviously be equal to 60. and the minimum element will be equal to -8. Yeah, -8. Okay, so maximum and minimum element easily found out, but do the tracing part, that becomes very important here. Okay, doing the tracing becomes very important. So what happens in tomorrow's class? Okay, tomorrow we have class, right? Tomorrow's class, what is going to happen? Two things going to happen. Number one, first thing, we are going to, of course, see the algorithm for it based on your tracing part only. See this based on these tracing only. You see this tracing? Based on these tracing only, I'm going to write an algorithm for it. Okay, very simplistic of algorithm. We are going to write that. Then of course we saw the recurrence relation. For that we are going to figure out what is known as the total time complexity.